Welcome to the Tool Hut channel. Today we have a 2004 F150. Got the 4.6 in it. Let's just call it a no start for right now. Stand by. While you got a second, why don't you go ahead and click that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell if you want to be notified when stuff comes out. I welcome any questions or comments you may have down below. Okay, let me start off with a couple of disclaimers here. I am not going to give you, this is not a silver bullet video. I'm going to walk you through my diagnostics process. It can work for anything. This was a very intermittent problem, and I had a really hard time tracking it down. But once I figured it out, I figured it out. So, if you're looking for a silver bullet, this isn't it. This is not a problem I've ever seen with an F-150 before. So if you have an F-150 that won't start, this likely won't fix it. It's possible, but it's likely that it won't. But if you want to see my diagnostics routine, this is how we're going to do it. So, my first call to the shop, when I first show up at this, when I first get the call to work on this vehicle, it's a crank no start, supposedly. It's a shop that I don't do a lot of work for. Maybe one or two calls a year. So they're not a regular call, so I'm not real comfortable with their diagnostics process, their information, stuff like that. It is a body shop. Not that that makes a whole lot of difference. So when I originally show up at the shop, the coronavirus has just started. There's the only person at the shop is the owner. There's no techs at the shop. The tech that was working on it has several hours into it. I don't know what he was doing, but he had several hours into it. The vehicle arrived to them as a no start. They threw a fuel pump control module at it. I'm not 100% sure of the rationale for the fuel pump control module. I wasn't here for the diagnostics process. I'm just throwing that in for information. It's got a brand new fuel pump control module in it. It's a Dorman. So leave it at that. Anyway, so off to the vehicle. I get in the vehicle, battery's dead, dead as a doornail. So I put a jump box on it at the shop. Uh, put jump box on, the vehicle's truck starts right up. They've had this truck 3 or 4 days and have never heard it run. At this point, what do? The battery's dead, so pulling codes isn't going to be helpful. Nothing, I mean, you almost got to get it to do it again, right? So we have a discussion, me and the shop owner have a discussion. It's decided that uh, they're going to put a battery in it and ship it. Okay, that's their call. I have done nothing but hook up a jump box and start the truck. So we all know where this is going, right? Anyway, I get a phone call a couple days later. Truck won't start. I guess the guy's at a 7-Eleven or something. Uh, is stranded. So the shop that it was at owns a tow truck. It's a long ways for me. It was an hour and a half drive down to look at the truck the first time. He agrees, because of where the truck is at, to tow it to another shop that is closer to where the truck is and for me to get to. But understand, I've done nothing for diagnosis. This is not what I would call a comeback. I am going to work on the truck, obviously, but I haven't really done anything to it. So they tow it to this other shop. The truck shows up. They got a very small parking lot, don't have a lot of room to move stuff around. Anyway, it shows up to them and it's a crank no start. I don't see this happen. He shoots it with some ether and it starts right up. Okay, cool. So the next day I show up, guess what? The battery's dead. I put my jump box on it, truck starts right up. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? I can't, I got no direction. So the only direction I've got is the shop that it's at now, is a shop that I do quite a bit of work with. I don't do a lot of work for them. We talk on the phone quite a bit, and I understand his diagnostics process. And so he's telling me that he shot it with ether and it starts right up. So I start looking around at some things, uh, and then I make some decisions. So stand by. I will go through the process here. Uh, there'll be more to it. So hold on. Okay. So the only direction I've got at this point is when the truck showed up at the second shop, they shot it with some ether and got it to start up. So I start looking at some fueling type problems, okay? And I don't really have a lot of good direction. Nothing has failed. So just looking at the diagram, there's this connector 139. This is let me back up here. This is the PCM power relay, and it powers up the fuel injectors. So it goes through this connector C139. Like I say, it's really the only direction I got. This is connector 139. Let me show you where it's at. So right here's the PCM, right here. And right in front of it is a harness. It's got this C139. It's a 12-pin connector. Again, it's the only, I'm just kind of shooting in the dark here, but I'm looking for clues. So typically I wouldn't touch something, but I can't get this truck to act up. So I got to start looking for some clues. So I unplug this connector. Just, I'm looking for corrosion, broken pins, bad wires, stuff like that. Just looking. Anyway, I unplug this connector and the corrosion just flies out of it. I mean, this thing is full of corrosion. So at this point, what do you do? So I bypassed this connector. It's an old truck. The only time you'll ever unplug this connector is when you're putting an engine in it. There is nobody going to put an engine in this truck. It's an old truck. If this thing gets another 2 or 3 years out of it, I'd be really surprised. This is one of those vehicles that's uh, gonna show up someday. They're gonna have the engine knocking or the transmission, and it's going to the crusher. So anyway, it's this connector right here. I just make the decision. I'm gonna bypass this connector. It's full of corrosion. I'm not even gonna try finding the connector. So again, at this point, I haven't got the truck to do anything that even resembles it not starting. Every time I get to it, the battery's dead. So that brings me to the next thing. So the truck is released to the customer. He calls me a couple days later, says he's at home. The truck won't start. Now, where he works at is shut down because of the coronavirus. He doesn't need the truck until they go back to work. So it's agreed with him because does appear to be intermittent. I don't know that it was when it started, but uh, we just have a discussion with the owner. If the truck starts at his place because has never failed going down the road, I'm just gonna have somebody drive it to my house. That way, I got time to work on it. It's close, and obviously I've agreed to bring it back when it's done. So upon arrival at the truck, the battery's dead. Starting to see a common theme here. It starts right up with a jump, and the truck is taken to my house. Okay, so everybody's good with where we're at now. So the truck shows up at my house, and again, me and the owner have some discussions in because I really don't have a good direction. I really don't know what's going on with this truck, other than every time I get to it, the battery's dead. So it's agreed, me and the customer agree that I'm going to tackle the battery going dead problem versus the truck won't start problem because I think they're connected. Maybe they're connected, maybe they're not. I don't know. But the customer understands the situation I'm in. He said the battery never went dead before it wouldn't start. So he kind of agrees with me that something has happened that's made this an intermittent problem, and the battery going dead is a new thing. So we'll make some decisions, right? So we're going to work on the battery going dead. So I have a 3 amp draw. I know, it's ridiculous, right? So in this central junction box right here, this is the one inside the truck behind the glove box. Fuse 32 is powered all the time. Actually, fuse 32, 33, and 34 are all powered all the time. But if I unplug fuse 32, these two go dead. So I finally have some direction, right? So something is feeding this relay from the other way, or this fuse from the other direction. Also, if we pull the fuse, both sides of this have power with the key on. So with key off, only one side has power, but neither side should have power when the key is off. See, this goes through this relay. The key on activates this relay through this fuse here. This fuse is hot and run or start right here. Hot and start or run. So this fuse turned hot during the key on, and it activates this relay. So none of these fuses should have power until the key is turned on. This they all have power. As a result, 51, 52, and 53 on the connector all have power. But if we pull fuse 32, the power goes away. So we know our problem was on fuse 32. So I go to a power distribution network because trying to trace it any other way is a problem. So here's my fuse 32. Again, we're in the central junction box right here. Central junction box. Fuse 32. It's a 15 amp fuse. It goes to H, which is diagram 13.7. So here's 13.7, as you probably figured out. And it goes to H. So here's H. Here's H. So on this fuse, we have the evap canister vent valve, the AC clutch relay, and the evap canister vent control solenoid. We also have all of this other stuff, right? So it's just crazy. So any of this could be feeding back, right? But let's think about this a second. Let's give this some thought process. So in order for it to have power all the time, to be feeding back all the time, it needs to have power all the time. Otherwise, we've got a wire melted together. I mean, there's the possibilities are endless here. The good thing is that we got some direction. So, what on this whole list of things has power all the time? There's only one thing. I'm not going to go through the re, through the diagram with you. There's only one thing that's got power all the time. It's this guy, the AC clutch relay. So, it is determined that if I pull the AC clutch relay, this fuse loses power. So now I know that my AC clutch relay is the thing that's feeding it back. The question is the relay being commanded to be on all the time? Something wrong internally in the relay, something like that. So we also test the relay. It is not being commanded on, I can assure you. It is one of these little square, I don't know if I got a picture of it, one of the little square relays that's cased up, that's molded together. So you can't really open it. I do try to cut it open to look at it. Uh, it is just determined the relay inside has something wrong with it. So it's broken inside and it is crossing the power for the AC clutch relay. It's the craziest thing I'd ever seen. So the AC clutch relay is causing my draw. Once I put in a different relay, my draw goes away. The truck starts every time. Obviously, the truck started every time before, but I keep the truck several days. The battery never goes dead, and the truck never fails to start. I didn't post this video for a long time because I was waiting for the customer to call me and say it wouldn't start. But it's been a month, so I think we're pretty safe. I think I'm pretty good. Uh, I know it's not your typical diagnostics video. I hope that helps somebody kind of understand my process of how I got to where I got. You may agree or disagree with me. It's not the point. The point is I followed a routine. I stuck to it, and I've narrowed it down. And as far as I'm concerned, it's fixed. All right. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. I got some more videos like this. I don't know if they're helpful or not. Uh, I think they are, but I like to see other people's diagnostics routines, stuff like that. So let me know what you think. Have a great day. While you got a second, why don't you go ahead and click that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell if you want to be notified when stuff comes out. I welcome any questions or comments you may have down below. All right, thanks for watching. So I just wanted to let you know, I just wanted to cover the entire diagnostics process. I know it's not your typical diagnostics video because I really didn't come up with what I call a conclusive answer to why the truck would crank and not start. Uh, Also, there was several times in the diagnosis that the vehicle would not crank and not start, and I didn't put that in the video because it was determined that the feedback of the voltage was causing that problem. So there was some more to the video. I was trying to keep it, under 7 hours long or something. So not that anybody would have watched it if it was 7 hours long, but anyway, I welcome any questions or comments down below. If you don't keep them clean, I'd just delete them. I'm good with it. Have a great day.